Nobody let him near the casket. Not the guards in their crisp uniforms, not the officers who looked at him like he didn't belong there. He stood at the back of the funeral hall, a simple man in a worn leather jacket, his weathered hands clutching a folded flag so tight his knuckles turned white. His name was Jack Harper, a single dad, a veteran, and the man nobody seemed to want around. But before this day was over, before the final salute echoed across the cemetery, a four-star general would step forward, break ranks, and reveal a truth that would leave the crowd in stunned silence. He saved my life. The story began long before the funeral. Jack wasn't always the quiet man people saw that day. Years ago, he was part of a special operations unit overseas, the kind of missions nobody talked about, the kind that only the toughest came back from. But Jack didn't come home the same. He came home to a folded flag of his own, his wife's. She died while he was deployed, leaving behind a little girl named Lily. From that moment on, Jack's entire world became about her. He worked any job he could get, mechanic by day, janitor by night, always making sure Lily had what she needed. But small town life wasn't kind to men like him. Whispers followed him everywhere. That's the soldier with PTSD. That's the guy who talks to ghosts. People didn't see a hero. They saw a broken man trying to survive. And when his old unit brother, Captain Daniel Reeves, died in a car crash, Jack drove 6 hours straight to attend the funeral, even though he wasn't invited. When he arrived, he stood quietly in the back, his heart pounding. Daniel had been more than a brother in arms. He'd been Jack's best friend, the one who pulled him out of hell during their last mission. Jack owed him his life. But when he tried to approach the casket to pay his respects, a young officer stepped in front of him. "Sir, this is a private ceremony. Family and military personnel only." Jack's voice cracked. "I am military. I served with him." The officer frowned, glancing at his jacket instead of his eyes. "Not in that uniform, you didn't." Murmurs spread among the attendees, whispers about the washed-up vet, about how he shouldn't be here. Jack clenched his fists, feeling the sting of humiliation and loss collide in his chest. He could have shouted, argued, demanded his right to say goodbye, but he didn't. Instead, he took a slow step back and lowered his head. He turned to leave, but a small hand tugged at his sleeve. It was a boy, Daniel's son. The boy looked up at Jack with tear-filled eyes. "Are you the man from Dad's stories?" Jack froze. "What stories?" The boy pointed toward the casket. "The ones about the desert, the one who carried him on his back." Before Jack could answer, the air shifted. The crowd went silent as a sleek black SUV pulled up to the edge of the ceremony. A four-star general stepped out. General Marcus Langford, a legend in his own right, the kind of man people stood straighter for without even realizing it. He walked past the honor guard, past the officers, and right up to the line of people who'd blocked Jack. His eyes locked onto Jack immediately. "You," the general said, voice heavy with memory. "You're Jack Harper, aren't you?" Jack nodded slowly, unsure what was coming next. The general turned toward the stunned crowd. "Stand down," he ordered. "Let this man through." No one moved. They were too shocked to understand what was happening. So Langford raised his voice, strong enough to shake the air. "Let him through. He saved my life." Gasps rippled across the field. The young officer who'd blocked Jack stepped aside instantly, his face pale. Jack walked forward slowly, every step heavier than the last. When he reached the casket, he placed his trembling hand on it, eyes glistening. "Rest easy, brother," he whispered. "We made it home, just like I promised." General Langford stepped beside him and spoke quietly, but everyone could hear. "You all owe this man your respect. Years ago, when our unit was ambushed, I was hit bad. Jack refused to leave me behind. He carried me 6 miles under fire. When the chopper finally came, he went back again, for Captain Reeves." He paused, his voice breaking for the first time. "He carried Daniel too, and took the bullet that was meant for me." Silence. Not a single sound. Even the honor guard looked away, ashamed of their earlier judgment. Tears rolled down Jack's face, not because of the recognition, but because Daniel's son was standing right there, hearing the truth about his father and the man who saved him. The general turned to Jack again. "You've been forgotten by too many people who should have known better. That ends today." He reached down, lifted Jack's hand, and placed a medal, one Jack had refused years ago, into his palm. You earned this the day you refused to let me die. And you honored it every day you raised that little girl alone. Lily stepped out from the crowd, running toward her dad. She wrapped her arms around him, crying into his chest. Jack held her close, whispering softly, "It's okay, baby. We're okay now." The general saluted him. Then, one by one, every soldier followed. An entire line of men and women stood at attention, saluting the man they had once dismissed. When the service ended, Daniel's son approached Jack again. "Dad said heroes never want to be called heroes. He was right about you." Jack smiled faintly. "Your dad was the real hero, kid. I just made sure he got home." The boy hugged him tightly. And for the first time in years, Jack didn't feel like a ghost. He felt seen, honored, alive. As the camera would fade out for the video's ending, you'd hear the narrator's voice softly echo. "Never judge a man by the clothes he wears, or the silence he carries.